Good evening and welcome to the 854th meeting, Tuesday, November the 8th. Please note that if you wish to be heard at the meeting, please sign the speakers list provided on the City of Laurel's website or contact staff. The chairman reserves the right to limit the amount of time each speaker has for each agenda item. The qualifications of the members of the commission, the staff of the commission, and any consultants used are on file with the city and are hereby made a part of each and every application heard today. The guidelines and procedures adopted by the commission are also made a part of each and every application. Each application heard today is considered on its own merits and is not to be considered as establishing a precedence for any other application. Just a few reminders to identify yourself each time you speak. This is imperative for the record. And then when you're done speaking, please mute your button on the computer or phone. This will help eliminate background noise. If we experience a technical problem, the meeting will be suspended until the issue is resolved. If unable to resolve the issue in a timely manner, meeting shall be postponed. Once the issue is corrected, I will call another roll and then we will resume the meeting. After the staff presents the applicant report, I will ask commissioners to request a motion. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Cocoon,
Here.
Councilmember Cole,
Here.
Ms. McSaney,
Here.
Ms. Lubinecki,
Here.
Ms. Frazier,
Here.
Mr. Davis, Mr. Schweitzer.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Brooke. Okay, next agenda is the discussion of the minutes from the regular meeting held on October the 11th, 2022. Are there any comments or corrections? Seeing that there's no comments, can I request a motion to approve the minutes?
This is Ms. McSaney. I move we approve the minutes as presented for the October 11th, 2022 meeting.
This is Ms. Frazier. I second that motion.
Thank you. Okay, Brooke, if you could call the roll. I have a motion from Ms. McSaney and a second from Mrs. Frazier.
Ms. McSaney,
Yes.
Ms. Frazier,
Yes.
Councilmember Cole,
Yes.
Ms. Lubinecki,
Yes.
Mr. Schweitzer,
Yes.
Mr. Cocoon.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, the first agenda item is HDC-2023-0029 for 617 Montgomery Street. Would the staff please present the report to the commission?
Yes, good evening. This is Joshua Mitchum, ECD staff. I'm going to be presenting the staff report tonight. Let's see here. The applicant is seeking further HDC retroactive approval to perform several exterior alterations to the property located at 617 Montgomery Street, of which they have received a stop work order. On the September 20th, 2022 HDC meeting, the following actions were taken regarding the application. Number one, the HDC granted the request to replace roof. Number two, the HDC tabled a request to replace the windows. And number three, the HDC tabled a request to replace the front door. The applicant is seeking HDC approval for the tabled items of window and front door replacements. Reiterating the window replacements, the applicant has replaced all the existing windows on the property. The existing double hung wood material windows with a 2x2 grid have been replaced with vinyl material windows without grids, and the shutters have not been replaced. However, following the September 20th, 2022 HDC meeting, the applicant states that they will now be adding 2x2 grids per the commission's comments. For the front door replacement, the applicant has changed the front door of the property. The old door was in white color and comprised of wood material, and the new installed door is in white color and comprised of metal material with an oval glass window. Following the September 20th, 2022 HDC meeting, the applicant states that they will now be adding a square glass window per the commission's comments. Staff recommends approval for the historic retroactive approval for certificate number HDC 2023-0029. And I believe the applicant, Mr. Gomez, is available for any questions if needed. Thank you.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Josh, for your report. Any comments, questions from the commission for the applicant or for staff?
This is Ms. Lubinecki. Just have a quick question. Brooke, I had asked about what the grids would look like, and I know, Brooke, you were able to send me an image of what it would look like. Do you have that to share perhaps with the rest of the staff?
I can see if I can bring it up. It's not in the slide because it didn't make it in the packet. Just give me a second.
Sure. In the meantime, I have a question for the applicant, Mr. Gomez.
Yes.
I was driving past your property this afternoon, and I noticed the workmen doing some significant work on the 4 windows with the 6/6, the narrow windows that are shown in the picture there. And I just wanted to confirm that you are just scraping and repainting them, as opposed you are going to leave those windows as they are.
Yeah, all the trim has, we're leaving all this the same, we're just scraping and, taking all the paints and repaint, whatever needs to be painted. So yeah, we're not taking anything else except just like the window, as I mentioned before. But yeah, just scraping and paint basically.
Yeah. Brooke, this is the picture you sent me, I believe, right?
Correct.
I just thought it would be helpful for the other members of the commission to see that.
This is Mrs. Frazier. I'd like to ask the applicant a question. Was it difficult to find grids to fit in the windows?
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, I mean, I think nobody sells it. I think it could be like a special like order or something, because everything was wood. So some of the windows are, basically just like a clear glass without any grid in it. And some of them, like, it has the like a grid in it. So it was kind of hard to get, to find those windows. We couldn't find it anywhere because nobody has it anymore. So we just, like I said, maybe just custom, do it on site to make it.
So
look
in
like
other words, you're doing this custom, not, you couldn't buy them off the shelf.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
This is Miss McSeany. Could you not find a door to match the original door? Because I don't recall anything, and I don't think it's in the minutes, about our requesting a window in the new door. It was the, original door that really, was such a huge contribution to the house, as well as the transom.
So the previous door, I mean, I think it's just like a solid door, just like a French solid door. So to make that work, I guess, I have to, like I said, custom make, because I can't find those doors anymore. And it wasn't in, working condition. So I had no idea, it was gonna causing me a problem. So that's, the way I will do it. Maybe just a custom made these doors if, just matches the previous one, before.
I mean, that would be fantastic if you could do that. And
Yeah.
replace the transom, the glass above the, like it was before.
Yeah, I can do the I think the trans. I'm not sure if it's I can do the transom on top, but the door, does it have to, can I just like use like another different door, just like, not like a, French door, but maybe like a bigger door? I mean, that door, yeah. And then put a transom on top of it.
And again, here's the, you buy that from Pella. Comes with the window. Ain't gonna put no Pella in there.
This is Miss McSaney. Well, the idea is to keep as close to the original structure as possible. So you need to have the transom still there. And it would be great if you could create a door to match what was there before. Because
Okay.
single solid door is really completely, different. And what you have pictured is kind of an arts and crafts store that doesn't really go with the house.
Right. Okay, I could do that.
That is fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we can note those changes. There's 2 changes, and would anybody care to make a motion?
Another question. I mean, as I
sir.
see on the picture right now, I mean, there used to be a storm door. So do you have to, to put a storm door on the door, or the door is it okay just a door?
This is Miss McSaney. The storm door is not original, so no, you don't have to have a storm door.
Okay, yeah, because the picture right now it shows a storm door.
Right.
So that's what I was, asking. Okay, I can just get rid of the storm door. Good.
So this is Miss McSaney. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the new 2/2 grid inserts, like we saw the picture, and that we approve a custom-made door to match the original with the transom and the 2 narrow solid doors with
Okay.
no storm door.
Thank you.
Okay, do I have a second to this motion?
This is Mr. Schweitzer. I'll second it.
Okay. All right, Brooke, we have a motion from Ms. McSaney and a second from Mr. Schweitzer. Would you please call the roll?
Ms. McSaney,
Yes.
Mr. Schweitzer,
Yes.
Councilmember Cole,
Yes.
Ms. Frazier,
Yes,
Ms. Lubinecki,
Yes,
Mr. Cocoon.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Good luck with your project, and if you have any other changes, outdoor changes, make sure you present them to the city first.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Okay, you have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to agenda item HDC 2023-0042 for 211 11th Street. Josh, would you like to present a report to the commission?
Yes, good evening again, Chair and fellow commission members. This is Joshua Mitchum, ECD staff. The applicant is seeking HDC approval to replace a fire damaged portion of their fence located at the property 211 11th Street. The applicant is proposing to replace the existing wooden fire damaged portion of the fence with a white vinyl fence. The proposed fence will be on the left side of the property and will be approximately 6 feet tall and 8 feet in length, and using about 8 to 9 panels. Staff recommends that the Historic District Commission approve certificate number 2023-0042. And I'm looking here if the applicant, Miss Lesa Jenkins, is available. I do not see her at the moment, but.
She's available. It's just under a different name.
Oh, got you. Okay. Can you please state your name for the record here?
My name is Lesa Red Miles Jenkins.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, perfect. Alrighty. Well, yeah, that concludes my report.
Great. Thank you, Josh. I believe there was one question or comment that they were wondering if you would be open to using wood panels instead of the vinyl panel.
I really prefer not to. If you look through the pictures I submitted of what the wood fence is like now that the neighbor has, I originally had said I would go in on them with them to replace it, and they said no, they like the wood. And when they went to replace the fencing, that because of their fire with the chain link, they could not get it in. It was so back ordered from COVID, and they said it would be months and months, and it was so much more to go through another subcontractor through my insurance. So that's why they suggested the white vinyl. And I was saying, whatever I can do, to get it done the quickest.
Okay.
This is Miss McSeany. So around this fence, I guess the burned fence doesn't go all the way around your property, or it does?
No, it was a segment from, I don't know exactly how many panels it was. It goes even back farther than that.
Okay, so is it it's on the right side of it's on the left side of your property?
Correct.
Okay, so is there fence farther back?
Correct. If you look, there were some other pictures that I had submitted that, where the fence runs the whole way. There's wood fence running the whole way of the property line.
Okay, and so are you replacing all of that?
No, just
the front
from the part that was burnt to the street to cover up the mess, so that I don't have to look at what I'm looking at next door.
So this is Ms. Libanecki. Let me clarify. So you're proposing to have two different types of fencing, part vinyl, part wood. Is that what I'm understanding you to say?
No, the neighbors are going to keep their wooden fence up, and I want to put the white fence on my property.
It is my understanding, Brooke, maybe you can help me here, that we usually do not want two fences paralleling each other because of the difficulty that happens in between the two fences. So what you're saying, ma'am, is what you're, Ms. Jenkins, is that your white fence and their new wooden fence would be paralleling each other. Is that?
Yeah, but they're butting up against each other, so there's going to be no gap. But they don't have a new wooden fence. What they have is those pictures that I showed you, which is a real eyesore.
Well, I mean, but that is, unfortunately, that is actually the problem, is that and I'm pretty sure about this, that we do not permit the fences can't be the two fences hitting each other. It's one or the other. And that's actually why we usually will say to somebody, when you're putting a fence up, the good side has to be out so it faces the neighbor. So
Right.
So you are not taking down this fence and then replacing it with new fence. My understanding is what you're saying is you're going to just take new fence and butt it up against these 5 or 6 panels. Is that correct?
Along the whole fence line. Yes, correct. As you can see the post, before. Are there any more, are there any more pictures? Like I said, I don't want to replace that. They put up that wood fence. My dad, Lester Red Miles, built this house years ago. And when there was a big problem, so they put up the wooden fence with, I guess without our acceptance or whatever. And so then now, like I said, as you can see, it's an eyesore. Who wants to look at all that? I mean, I even have more pictures I can show you other than that one too, if you'd like, to show you what I have to look at. Would you like me to show you the whole way down what it looks like?
Yeah, my problem, Ms. Jenkins, is not that it's an eyesore. I mean, I don't disagree with you that it's an eyesore. It's the paralleling part that really becomes a problem for us. We just
okay. So then, who determines who takes down their fence? I mean, does that have to be something that's done legally? Because I don't know why theirs should stay up and mine shouldn't be up when mine will look and looks better than theirs. So how is that determined?
That is actually a little beyond my personal purveyance. I mean, that's kind of for you and them to work out.
Well, that won't be, because we've been arguing, this whole time. Like I said, from the start, when my dad built this house, Lester Remmels, years ago, the neighbors on the sides hated it because they wanted to buy this property. And, there was a battle with them and Chris Ertl and everything. So, like I said, I don't know how to reach a resolution with them. I originally had offered to go in with them, or did they want to go in with me? And they said no. So I don't know what the option, is, because I'm tired of looking at that mess.
Are they open to having you remove the fence and put your fence up? Or
No.
They don't want their fence touched?
Nope. Unfortunately.
Okay. And you're sure it's their fence? Because typically, I'm looking at it, the unfinished side is towards the persons who put the fence up. Usually the finished side is towards your neighbor.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, my dad, there was an original chain link fence there years ago next to their fence, actually. Because if you look, I have some pictures. If you look at the very front, the chain link used to run down that way. And then that was taken up. But there originally was a chain link on the side, and they had their wood fence right running parallel with my chain link. That's the way it's been the whole time I've lived here until this fire.
This is Mrs. Frazier. Josh or Brooke, what do the regulations say about that?
In terms of whether, this is Josh Mitchum, in terms of whether or not, like the regular zoning ordinance or factoring in HDC or
The
which part
zoning
of the
order,
ordinance?
like one fence right next to the other.
Well, per the guidelines for fences, she's allowed to put, Ms. Jenkins is allowed to put a fence, on keeping up with her property line. But I guess that's where it runs into the HDC's guidelines about parallel fences. That's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that specifically forbids that in a non-HDC capacity, but I'm not finding it at this moment. Monte, I don't know if you had anything else, but I'm not seeing anything that would prevent her from doing that.
And unfortunately, that is an HDC thing. I mean, as long as I've been on the HDC and years before, that's always been the policy, which is not fair to you.
Karen, you're muted.
Ms. Cobb, this is Deputy Director Monte Burrows. Are you willing to wait to get a fence to match your neighbors, or it's just that you want to put up something right now to try to rectify the issue quickly? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Their fire started. This has been going on since March. that I have been dealing with insurance and them and the fencing and this and that. So since March, this has been going on with this fence. And so, yeah, I don't want the wood. I'm tired of looking at their stuff. Like I said, if you would let me, I'll show you pictures the whole way down. It is a mess that I am looking at, and it's falling apart, and I have dogs, and you know, it's just getting ridiculous. As you see, I have to have, you know, all these things to keep the dogs from going under where it's falling apart.
Yes, I clearly understand, but my question to you is, if the HDC decides, if they would give you time to, you know, additional time, because I understand time has been far spent since March. If they give you additional time to get a wooden fence that would match close to what the neighbor have to get you what you need, is that something you would consider, just waiting a little longer? That's all.
I really don't want the wooden fence. There's one on the other side, and it starts looking like that. And it's just too much to maintain at this point at my age and living alone. You know, it's just, you know, and eventually it looks like that. Yeah.
Okay. But do you understand
you.
do you understand the concerns of the HDC when they speak of different types of fence running parallel? Do you understand what they're stating?
Right. But I mean, if you're coming from theirs, you can't see theirs from, you know, vice versa. You're not going to see either one, you know, back to back. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to drive down the street and say, look, they got a white fence, they got a wood fence, they're side by side. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
okay.
I understand what you're saying. But part of the problem is you won't be able to maintain the fence if they're butted up to each other. You know, you won't be able to maintain one side of your fence.
Right. But I mean, look at that now, and you should see the other side. If you try and power wash it, it falls apart.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I have a question for the
That
staff.
might be a good plan.
Is there any recourse in terms of getting the neighbor to basically repair what is an eyesore? There's no, I'm not, Ms. Jenkins, I'm not saying that it isn't an eyesore, okay? It's
Right.
this other issue Mr. Burrow was proposing a solution, but we would still have the two parallel fences, which doesn't really solve the problem in any case. I mean, the problem is that you have a neighbor who won't take down a dysfunctional fence.
Right.
And that's a problem. And that's sort of out of the purview, I think, Mr. Clacoon, of the HDC. I mean, we can rule on the application, but getting the neighbor to do the right thing is kind of, unfortunately, and really, I do sympathize with you a lot with this.
And see, with that being said, I didn't know that the through my insurance, Erie, who they subcontracted out to Thomasville Restorations, that they didn't get the permits because I told them that we were in the historic district and that they needed to do that and the other. And I just assumed, dummy me, that they had done that. With that being said, they've already, all the, you know, the materials had been purchased, and the contractors, unbeknownst had to the Thomasville Restoration, subcontracted out to another company, and they started putting the fence up. So now there's this white fence that's partially done and partially not.
This is Josh Mitchum, ECD. One thing that I can do potentially is maybe see, in speaking with the fire marshal's office, if there's any kind of language in their ordinance that talks about kind of like a negligent, you know, maintenance of a you know, exterior structure such as a fence. So possibly if FMPS views it as being, you know, not maintained properly, I don't know if that can kind of force the issue, but you know, no promises, but I can look into that and see if they would.
I'm not sure exactly how this transpired. They say no, but anyway, somebody called to see if the neighbors were unhappy with the fence that I was putting up, the white fence, that the insurance was doing. So they called the, oh, I can't remember her name, the person who does the inspection things for the city, Christine, or, oh, I can't remember her name, a blonde haired lady who's the inspector. She came and she told them they had to fix the front part of the fence within a certain amount of time, which they did. They just took old boards and re-put them up. So now that satisfied the city's thing with their permit that, that they had redone, what had needed to be done. Because then I went over there, because when they did the fence, they put it on my property. So, okay. I mean, so then we had a big, thing about that they put the fence up on my property.
Okay, so you're saying that the maintenance request by the fire marshal's office is what we're looking at now. Like that is what satisfied, I guess, the request. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and like I said, the inspector for the city, for you all, the blonde-haired lady, she came out and she gave them a certain amount of time to fix the fencing, and they did fence it, and that's what you see. They put the boards up and everything else. They had somebody come out and replace those few panels, and it met the standards.
Okay,
that's hard to believe.
Okay. Let me just interrupt for a second. I think some of these things are out of our realm. And what is in our realm is whether we can approve the fence to be put up with the stipulation that the existing hodgepodge fence needs to be removed. I think we could motion that and take a vote on it. Getting the fence removed and dealing, with the neighbor issues, I believe that that's something that you are going to have to take up with the city and work that out. But as far as our commission's concerned, we are just here to approve, aesthetics and what would be acceptable in a historic commission. So I think we're going into a lot of different things that we will not be able to touch or solve or deal with as a historic commission.
So then if you all approve that, is that saying I can continue running my fence down the fence line with theirs as it is in the back and the other places? Because there always were two fences there. Like I said, when my dad built it, No,
I think we would probably approve it with the stipulation that only one fence could be there.
So then it's going to become a court battle for me, which I cannot afford. They don't want to budge, and I don't feel that I should have to budge. I mean, I don't want to keep looking at that.
I understand that. And that would be something that you would have to take up with the city and try to work something out as far as that goes.
Is it, I mean, like what is the issue with two fences running parallel to each other is what I guess I don't understand.
As I stated earlier, you wouldn't be able to maintain one side of the fence. And, probably the biggest thing is bushes or seedlings would grow up in between it. You wouldn't be able to maintain them and it would cause damage. It would become an eyesore, which in my opinion, it's an eyesore right now with just a single fence. But with the two fences back to back, you wouldn't be able to maintain the one side of the fence.
So then
that's the biggest issue with having the fences butt up to each other.
So then if they won't give and I won't give, then it becomes a lawsuit. And what are the things that go with that? I mean, I don't have the money to pay for an attorney. I mean, this is very upsetting because of their negligence.
Yes,
that all this is, being done.
I understand that's something maybe you could take up with your council person or with the city as far as trying to determine what could be done as far as removing that fence. It does look like it's in poor shape from the pictures I see, but again,
They refuse to, like I said, they refuse to. I mean, we have been at odds about this. And like I said, I see there will be a standoff. So what happens with me, with my insurance company? I mean, this is still at a standstill that, you know, there's still $12,000 sitting there that this has to be finished within a certain time frame. I mean, I can't keep going on. You know, like I said, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. This has been 9 months.
yes,
And I
ma'am.
mean, insurance can't be, you know, keep being in limbo, and the subcontractors and the contractors. I mean,
Mr. Cocoon, this is
Sure,
Luganecki. Ms. Jenkins, a lot of what you're saying is that your insurance company, by subcontracting and subcontracting, has responsibilities for not doing legal work, which gives you some recourse in going back to them and having them resolve this problem legally. But it really is, as Mr. Cocoon, I'm afraid, has said, is way out of our purveyance. And Mr. Cocoon just said, I'm personally a little, and I really do sympathize with you, Ms. Jenkins, to approve something contingent on something that's in such dispute, which is taking the other fence down. I think it's difficult for us. This is hard and not pleasant for any of us. Trust me, Mrs. Jenkins.
yeah. So, I mean, like, so then what I do, I contact the council member, but so then this still sits until only God knows. I still have to have all this stuff. I have no fence on the side for my dogs. I still have to, I mean, this has really been a hardship. And that's all they said I had to do was come before you all and, you know, get this approved. That, you know, that was the thing, was to just get this approved, not, you know, about the 2 fences. So you're saying you can have a chain link and a wooden fence running side by side?
No.
But you can't. Well, then how come there are lots of them? I mean, on my sides, I still have that.
Well, if that was put in before the HDC was created, ma'am, then a fence that is already there, we're not going to make somebody take it out. But when you're replacing the fence, then the current guidelines have to take are what's in effect.
Right. So so where do I go from here to get my fence up, to get this resolved with insurance? I mean, like I said, because they keep sending me things. They have certain stipulations for timelines also, you know, on their stuff, how long a case can stay open. They've never come across, you know, this kind of thing before, I guess.
Monte, maybe you could step in and help the applicant, you know, with the next step as far as dealing with the city and the city dealing with the neighbor dispute.
What we could do, Mr. Chair, is get her contact information, and then we can offline speak to her, contact her, and see what's her next recourse. I know, as you already spoken, and you guys can go ahead and make approval or disapproval tonight on what you allow to happen to this property. But I will definitely make sure we get in contact there and see what can be done. But most likely, as you stated, this is a civil issue. So this is something that we cannot, or you guys cannot resolve on that standpoint, but you can resolve if you approve or disapprove what has been proposed. And anything else we can do offline, and make sure that ECD will contact Ms. Jenkins and we'll resolve anything that we can help her with.
Great. Thank you, Monte.
Also, this is Joshua mentioned again as well. Also, in following up with earlier, I believe I know which inspector Ms. Jenkins is referring to. So what I can do is I can follow up with Ms. Chris over at Code Enforcement
That's
and
it.
see what you know, if the applicant really maybe, or if the neighbor fulfilled what other obligations they needed. So that's part of the discussion that we can have offline. But yeah, I'll follow up with Chris tomorrow.
Mr. Chairman, I think I would be more comfortable. Could we table this? And not, I'm uncomfortable approving it with the second fence sitting there, but certainly giving some time to see if we can get any kind of resolution here, I would feel comfortable with that. And I wonder if could I make a motion to that effect, that we table HDC 2023-0042?
Certainly.
This is Miss McSaney. I will second that. But I would also like to state for the record that in the design guidelines, it states the commission, when talking about 2 parallel fences, the commission will not approve such installation. So that's my second.
So then if it comes to that, then it's going to be a lawsuit to determine how will it determine whose fence goes and whose fence
I thought
stays?
they just said if they approved it, that means that you could do it. So then you don't have that. I guess.
I mean, I'm confused here. If you can't,
Yeah, one of the fences would have to come down or
So then why can't they approve it?
yeah, but
and if they're not willing because they don't want to see the white and I don't want to see the wood, then it's just going to be a standoff or a lawsuit. And then what happens with the fence that's currently up and, just sitting here? Can I at least put the gate up temporarily? I mean, the fence is up on the side. Can I just finish the gate so my dogs can't go in and out? Can I at least do that on what's there?
Where does the gate go?
It's on the side of the house.
Oh, because the blue line was only along the property line.
It literally is.
Right, but see right across, I don't know if you can see my finger, but right across the thing, there was a side fence too. On the side of the house.
so if is it
That
meaning
little part.
from your house to the property line, you're proposing to put the fence up in that portion, correct?
The
Right.
gate. Yeah.
It's right. It's like I said, they already moved forward with some of that white fence that you see is already up.
Yeah.
And on the sides, it's already up except for the gate.
Right, but that's the whole issue here, is that you now have 2 parallel fences, right?
Only on the one part.
On
Where the blue line is, you have partial.
right.
So
Not from the house to the property line.
No, there's
So
not 2 fences there.
we could approve that because that's just a single fence. It's dividing the front yard from the backyard.
Right. And it's towards the back of my house where my deck is. As you can see in the back, that little line, whatever, that's where,
And it was a chain link fence.
Correct.
Yeah. And you're going to take that down and you were proposing to put the 6-foot
Right.
vinyl fence.
Correct.
Okay, this is Miss McSaney. What's on the opposite side? Because in the
It's yard.
It's
picture, a different picture that we have.
the other side, the other neighbor's side. It's a wood fence also, wood and chain link.
I feel very uncomfortable, and I'm sorry to say this because I too have had issues with neighbors and fences. You're having 3 different kinds of fence around your house.
On the side that I'm talking about, there's just the wooden fence. The front of my house is chain link, but it's the coated chain link that is black.
Yes, I'm looking at a picture of it right now.
Okay. The one side still runs chain link.
Yes.
And then on the side where it attaches to the neighbor's fence, it is the wood fence.
Right, so as you're facing your house, there's sort of a blue house with a red roof to the right. And there's
Correct.
wooden fence from your house to the chain link fence.
Correct.
So that's a wood fence and a chain link fence And now
Correct.
we're going to add a white plastic fence. So that makes 3 kinds of fences.
On the other side,
I
not the,
understand, but
But
it's
it's one
3
property.
kinds of fence.
right. But the chain link, like I said, it's on the other side.
Okay, I have no problem with chain link fencing at all.
But they could not get it in, is what I'm saying, through insurance, and it would take a long time. And it was more than what they would cover. They would only cover so much. So this is what they offered to me. And I said, I don't care, as long as I can get a fence. It looks good. It's pretty. It looks way better than that wooden dilapidated mess. And so I said that was fine with me. And I rode around the city and took lots of pictures within the historic district, which I can show you with the street addresses, with a lot of this white fence. I don't know how many pictures that I can show you right now, if you'd like to see, of the white fence within the historic district.
Okay,
And it
Again,
looks so
that's
much
not
better.
the issue, unfortunately. The vinyl is not the issue. Mr. Chairman, do we not have something on the, we have a motion and a second on the floor, do we not?
Yes, and I believe Ms. McSeany had added some other stipulations to it. So I do have a motion to table the item, and I have a second. Brooke, would you call the roll?
Ms. McSeany?
What
I'm
does
sorry,
this mean?
Ms. Lubanecki?
yes,
Yes.
McSeany?
yes.
Ms. Frazier?
I'm so
Yes.
confused.
Councilmember Cole?
All
Yes.
of this, they're
Mr.
negligent.
Switzer?
Yes.
Mr. Cocoon?
No.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
So there's no.
I'm so confused as to what
Okay,
what
so
I'm
where
to
where you're
do.
going to go from here, Ms. Jenkins? You can come back before the commission at our next meeting with a new proposal. We've tabled it until the next meeting. In the meantime, you could contact the city and see if there is a compromise that can be acquired, and then propose that before the commission.
What if they say that you can put 2 fences beside each other, that they say that that's okay?
Who, the city?
Yes, correct.
We are the city.
It's a historic district.
But then you're saying to go before the city, but I thought you all are the historic, just to see, that's why I'm getting confused. If you're saying I'm sorry to be such a pain, but this is really.
No, you're not a pain. What you can go to the city, you can't ask them to put 2 fences up, but what you can do is see if there's a compromise to where you can get the neighbor to either repair their fence so it's suitable to you, or have them remove it so that you could propose to put your fence up.
And if they will not, because like I said, I've been dealing with this issue for years and since this fire started, and they absolutely refuse. They're the ones that called on us. I mean, that's where all this, so they will not do it. I mean, I have tried talking with them. So it's going to be a stalemate. So if I come back in a month and I'm just going to request the same thing for my white fence to be run along there, how does that, I mean, it's just going to be a waste of your all's time and my time. And what about the fence that's already up? Because like I said, they called, I thought there was a thing. So there's already fencing up. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, I didn't know. They told me they had the permits. And I'm being a dummy. My dad was a builder. I should have known that they didn't have it, because I know when my dad built houses and did things, you put the permits, I believe, in the window or something. I don't know, but like I said, I thought that they had that. So now there's already panels of fence up. And so, you know, what would happen with that? And
did you receive a stop work order?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what Chris, you know, came out and did, because they You know, they called because they didn't like the white fence.
I don't know. You know, your proposal looks good in my opinion, but we can't have two fences up. So we got to resolve that somehow. And that's not for our commission to do that. I guess the other option would be to change your fence to a wood style fence or something that may be suitable with your neighbor. But, you know, we can't make you do that. That's just something that you would have to work out between your neighbor and yourself and the city. You know, I don't know what else we could tell you to do other than that. But,
Okay.
you know, we just wouldn't allow the two fences to be butted together. So you have to come up with a different solution.
Okay, so I just want to confirm for her. Are you all the city of Laurel or are you the historic committee? Because Miss Karen, whoever said that you all were the city of Laurel. Are you the city of Laurel or are you the historic district?
We're the commission for the city of Laurel. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And we have guidelines that have been adopted and passed.
Mm-hmm.
So we are the governing body as far as the historic district and outside, but we don't have the inspectors or the permit process. That's something you would go through the city. And now we also can't enforce as a commission, we can't enforce things like fences or gates that have deteriorated. That would be the city's responsibility.
Right. So
the next person who she would talk to is the Mr. Monta I'm assuming. You said that would be her next step and he would help initiate things.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
so he kind of be like a liaison between myself and the
He's the one
neighbor.
who's going to work with the city to try and help
so,
you all.
Right. And so the city of Laurel has a code enforcement division.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
That's not us.
Right.
It's not code enforcement. So
Correct.
they would maybe get involved. I don't know, but that's something that Mr. Bros could guide you through and help lead you through that.
Okay. And one
I
last,
apologize that, you know, you are having this issue and the inconvenience, but as a commission, we are limited to what we're able to.
I understand. One last question though, on the side. So can I put up the gate that's just leaning up against the thing or no?
At this time, no, ma'am, it's tabled. And so, you know, you'll have to resolve these issues, come back before us with a plan. And
But
obviously, no, you can't put two fences back to back. So
right.
the plan would have to include something different.
But on the side where I'm talking about, it's not back to back and it's
Right.
already up. The white fence is already up with the panel for the gate, but it's just leaning because she put the stop order when they were getting ready to put the latches and stuff on the gate. So it's just leaning and it keeps propped up with trash cans and stuff and it keeps falling over and the dogs keep scooting through. And
I understand. Unfortunately, this item has been tabled and it's we voted on it. So
okay.
as far as allowing you to do anything else, we wouldn't be able to do that at this time.
But if we do agree to one fence, we can't probably, well, never mind. I'll just wait.
You would
I'm
come
sorry.
before us. You would come before us.
Right.
And then, you know, we would make a motion.
Right.
and
I
vote.
understand. I understand.
Okay.
Can I ask one more thing? I just want to make sure she doesn't want to go through all this chaos to do this. There won't be an issue with it being 3 different color fences if she were to get all these approvals and then all of a sudden she brings it to you all and you say, no, because it's 3 different colored fences.
Because of the other side.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I can't say that. I can't speak for the whole body, but
Right.
you know, bring your plan before us, and you want it to be aesthetically pleasing, and you do want to try to match, you know, what you have currently, instead of having a mix and match of different is there, which to me, you do have between chain link and wood picket and wood panel, and then you're proposing to have the vinyl fence. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of things going on here, and you're going to have to come to a plan and bring it before the commission.
Okay.
Alrighty, great. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good evening and
You too.
good luck.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Moving on to the next agenda item, HDC 2023-0043 for 513 Montgomery Street. Josh, would you like to present the report to the commission?
Good evening again, Commission. This is Joshua Mitchum giving the report. The applicant is seeking HDC approval to perform a number of exterior renovations located at the property 513 Montgomery Street. For the shutter installations, there are no existing shutters on the property, and the applicant is proposing to install black shutters on each of the sides of the two windows of the front of the house. Next, for shingle replacement, the applicant is proposing to replace the existing roof shingles. The existing shingles are 3-tab in gray color and will be replaced with an architectural style in the gray or pewter gray color. For the door painting, the applicant is proposing to repaint the front door of the property, changing it from red to black color. The existing door itself has not been proposed to be replaced. Staff recommends that the HDC approve certificate number 2023-0043. And the applicant, I believe, would be Gregory Dean. I'm not sure if he is on the call.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you. And that concludes my report.
Great. Thank you, Josh. Any comments or questions for the applicant or the staff?
This is Miss McSaney. For the shutters, it's hard to tell. Is there enough room for the shutter that would be between the window and sort of that front outcropping where the door is? Is there going to be any space where the siding shows through?
Yes.
Is it going to look like it's just shoved in there?
No. There'll be room between the shutter and the side of the I guess that little wall that jets out before the front porch.
So the shutters will be the same height as the window,
Correct.
correct?
Yes.
Now, so I assume the window is 30 inches wide?
I don't recall. I think I submitted that.
Because you're proposing 15-inch shutters.
That's
and they should be enough to cover the window if they work.
Yeah, that's originally what shutters were meant for, but they're more of aesthetic these days.
Right, but I think what this is Ms. Libanecki, Ms. Fraser was saying is that they need to be, to meet the aesthetic of the historic district, they need to be half of the window. Is that what you're saying, Ms. Fraser?
Yes.
Actually, so can you scroll down and show me the width? So I think it's probably a couple inches smaller. The window is probably a 32-inch window, maybe a 34-inch window. The reason I proposed a 15-inch is so it would be a balance to the window, and then also the previous question, so it had that proportion, so it didn't cover up all the siding on next to the jogged out section before the front porch.
This is
The windows are 5 feet tall.
I don't know how to. Yeah, that's from trim, the top of the trim to the bottom of the trim. That's not the window measurement. I wanted to go to the size of the trim. That's pretty common, pretty standard.
Mm-hmm.
This is Miss McSaney. Was there any evidence that there were ever shutters on this house?
So there's a house identical to this one just down the street, one street over. I don't know all the street names. And they have 15-inch shutters.
Well, I guess I'm saying that I don't see the need for shutters.
It's just aesthetically pleasing. It gives it some contour, breaks up the window.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, can I entertain a motion?
Mr. Chairman, this is Councilmember Cole. I'd like to motion that we approve this application.
Okay, do I have a second?
Mr. Schweitzer, I second.
Okay, Brooke, I have a motion from Councilman Cole and a second from Mr. Schweitzer. Would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Schweitzer,
Yes.
Ms. McSinney,
Yes.
Ms. Frazier,
Yes.
Ms. Lubinecki,
Yes.
Mr. Cocoon.
Yes,
Motion carries.
great. Thank you. All right, good luck with your project and look forward to seeing the finished product.
Well, awesome. We're also wanting to do the shingles.
This is Miss McSaney. That was part of your application.
Correct.
Oh, so you're saying the whole application has been approved?
Yes.
Oh, well, that was easy. Okay. Well, thank you.
All right, well, good luck, sir.
Appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.
The next agenda item, HDC 2023-0031 for 410 Prince George Street. Josh, would you please call the roll? I'm sorry, would you please present the report?
Sure. This is Joshua Mitchum, ECD staff. The applicant is seeking HDC approval to install 13 new windows on the house located at 410 Prince George Street. The applicant is requesting approval for the 8 windows that will be seen from the street. Let me see here. The new double pane windows will change from wood and aluminum material to vinyl material, with the existing 9/1 grids to remain the same. The applicant is proposing 7 31.5 by 62-inch windows, 3 24.5 by 62-inch windows, 1 31.5 by 46-inch window, 1 40.5 by 62-inch window, and finally 1 36 by 53-inch window. Staff recommends that the Historic District Commission approve certificate number 2023-0031, and the applicant, Ms. McJolton, seems to be available for questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Josh. Any comments or questions for the applicant or for the staff?
This is Miss McSaney. I applaud your sticking to the original windows and would like to make a motion that we approve HDC 2023-0031 as presented.
This is Mrs. Frazier. I second that motion.
Okay, Brooke, we have a motion from Ms. McSaney and a second from Mrs. Frazier to approve HDC 2023-0031. Would you please call the roll?
Ms. McSaney,
Yes.
Ms. Frazier,
Yes.
Councilmember Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Schweitzer,
Yes.
Ms. Lubinecki,
Yes.
Mr. Cocoon.
Yes,
Motion carries.
great. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Good luck with
Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, next agenda item is for staff approval. We have one staff approval. HDC 2023-0045 for 1102 Montgomery Street. Any comments or questions? Seeing that there's no comments or questions.
I have a question on staff approvals in general. The 513 Montgomery Street, on the picture, it said there were staff approvals.
This is Miss McSaney. That was for paint, other in-kind things.
Yes, but they're not listed.
It may have been after the agenda was created.
Okay.
So you'll probably see it on the next one.
Did we not? I thought maybe, didn't we possibly approve them at an earlier meeting? Actually, some of the in-kind stuff for this house?
I think they just came through yesterday or today, correct, Brooke?
I don't think so.
Hmm.
I think it was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I was just curious as to why they weren't on the list.
Yeah, you'll see it on the next agenda.
And, Mr.
Okay. Motion,
Right, Mr. Chairman, I have a question, kind of, since we're all here and we can talk. As Brooke knows, I have been putting in several times for signage that is appearing on a bunch of the buildings on Main Street that are like glued to the front of the building, and ECD keeps thinking that these signs are okay. And I just would like some clarification. I mean, I think gluing signs to the exterior of properties is not something we approve. Is that not correct?
let's see, Monte, would you like to address this? I don't think it's in our realm to whether we approve temporary signs or not. I think that's,
Well, these are like glued. I mean, they're affixed. They're glued. They're not.
yeah.
And some of them were scotch taped. Unfortunately, those people have taken them down. But it's if people have walked on Main Street, and unfortunately, I think it's 355. They're not put up there to be temporary signs. So that's an and the signage wouldn't be approved by us in any case. I mean, so I think it's something we just need to address.
Okay, we'll definitely look into it. A lot of signs, some signs do not need HDC approval, but we'll definitely look, and I'll definitely make sure I target 355 Main Street to make sure if it's been glued or stuck to it, to ensure that, you know, they're going by the guidelines to for proper signage on a window. So we will definitely look into that.
This is Miss McSaney on, I guess, sort of a related note. What about lighting that is added? I'm thinking about, I don't even know what you call it. It's lights in like tubes around windows. You know, I brought up some lights several months ago and was told that because they were inside the building, that we did not have any control over that. But I have encountered some lights that are affixed to the outside of the building. Where does that fall?
Okay, the first one, who did you get the first answer to? You said it was inside. Whom did you receive that information
I
from?
believe it was Mr. Love on one of our Zoom meetings.
Okay, then. I mean, I definitely will look into it. It may be the same guidelines for outside, inside, but I know exterior a little bit different. I would definitely do a research once we get off the call, and definitely tomorrow morning look into that. And I would definitely get back with you to ensure that they're doing the proper procedure for lighting.
Thank you. On that note, I guess I'd like to move that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
All right. Have a good evening, everybody. See you next
Happy
week.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.